was a little bit surprised that so many of you requested a When You Wish Upon a Star solo guitar lesson. So I made my best arrangement I could, and here it is. You can download the tab from the link down below in the description box, and please also visit my lesson shop GuitarVersum for more lesson material like this one. And now let's get ready. We're in the key of C major, and we have the classical jazz standard song form AABA. Each of these is 8 bars long, a total of 32 bars. Our first phrase is going to be 6 bars long. I use a lot of substitutions and reharmonizations in my arrangement, and I'm going to explain them to you, and I hope you appreciate that and don't find it boring. I think you can learn a lot from this lesson. So, we have a lot of very low notes in the arrangement, which in the melody, which makes it really tricky and hard to harmonize. We start with a C chord with the G on top. That's a C triad. Don't do anything fancy here because the listener needs to get into the song. So if you do something fancy with that low, it won't take the listener into the song. You need something familiar first. And now the first substitution, B flat 13. C is still written. B flat 13 actually substitutes for E7, and that takes us to the upcoming A7, which is written again, A7 sharp 5, right? A7, just the top 3 notes, so A7 sharp 5 to A7. Resolving to a D minor chord. C sharp is in a melody, D minor major, and I added a flat 5 in there. Actually, I see this more as an E13 with the D in bass. D is the melody next, leading us to D minor 7, and here is your final resolution. If you do strange things, you need to resolve it to more common chords, because this is not a common chord for D minor. So I resolve it, right? Now some little, this is optional, but that leads me perfectly fine to the B melody. And the B is over the G7 chord. I can't play a G7 here really, so I just play the diet here. And now I have a B in a melody, still G7 chord written, so I played G7 flat 5. Now we have something fancy again, right? And now over G7 I reharmonize or substitute F major 7 and E minor 7 to go down from G diatonically to the upcoming E flat diminished, which is written in the sheet again. Right? Melody and C. I take a C, I use a C6-9 plus a little fill, right? Then C continues on the sheet. I harmonize it with an E minor. They're basically the same. So E minor, bass first, and an E minor 7. This is also C major 9. So depending on what you have in the root, in the bass, this is an E minor 7. Now going to C6-9. Doesn't matter if the E still rings, that's okay. But now going to the A, to the written A7, and stop the E from ringing. And go to open A string, A9-13. Then lift it and play the A13 with the A on top. And that resolves to the written D minor 11. F and G7 is next. I play G13 with F in bass. We have the 13 in the melody. I could have done this, but that's a G6 chord and it doesn't sound dominant at all. It belongs to the major family. So I went for this inversion G13 with the F in bass and a diet for the melody. And that was the first phrase. I'm going to play through that for you now. All together. 3, 4. If you're into Chord Melody, I have a Chord Melody starter pack for you with 5 easy lessons from my YouTube channel for best value, and you can download it from the link down below in the description box. Go check it out. We are now in the first ending of the A section. So this is A1, 2 bars ending. F major 7, fill it by picking, and G7 by just playing the dyad here, G and B. And now I take a little freedom again and play a line. That's in the key of C, D, C, B, G, E. And those last 3 tones already shape an E minor, arpeggio, or chord. And that's for the upcoming. Actually, C is written in the sheet music, and I play an E minor. I favor that. E and bass. Oh, sorry. Here's a fancy E minor 9 chord. I could have played it with this E and bass, but I prefer to play it with the open E string if I have the chance to. 12, 11, 8th fret. That's an E minor 9 chord, and it sounds funny because of this flat second. Now I have a turnaround going on, 3, 6, 2, 5. So that was the 3 chord instead of the 1 chord. Now an E flat 9, that substitutes the A, which is the 6th degree, and that's the sub 5 of it. Then the 2 chord is a D, 9 sus 4 in this case. Bass first, rest follows again. And then for the 5 chord, the G7, I play a D flat 13 flat 5. Or it's just an E flat with D flat in bass. Right? Right. Here are those 2 bars again at slow tempo. Leads me back to the A2 section, to the C chord. For the A2 section, please repeat phrase number 1 and now skip to this phrase number 3. We now have a D minor ending. Let's just play the upper 3 notes plus the A string, and then pick D, G, B strings. That's a 2 leading us to a simple 5 chord, G7, shell voicing. And now the C major, and I play like an ending. It sounds like the song ends here, but there's still a B section and another A section. So instead of playing the C6, there's a trick. This is the melody. You just move everything to the right except for the melody, and what you get is a D flat major 13 substitute. D flat major 13, here we go. I play that, then I fill the space by going 1 by 1 each string, and then I move these 3 in again to have a C6 chord, a final one. Right? So here is that. Then I give it some rest, some breathing until the B section starts. You can help to keep the free video tutorials of this channel running by becoming a member of the channel, and you can do so by clicking the join button right next to the subscribe button, which also grants you access to my mini lessons. You can also say a little thank you by clicking the thanks button and donate a little something. This really helps with the productions of the videos. Thanks a lot. Welcome to the harmonically very interesting B section. We have a G7 written. So I play an F minor 6 flat with the A flat in bass, an inversion. That functions as a G7 chord or also as a D half diminished. You can see it like this or that. Pick one after each other. Going to G7 sharp 5. And resolution to 1 chord, C6 9. And and I added in a 5-chord sub 5 of the 5. So E flat 9 subs for A7, right? Otherwise I would have the whole bar just C major is boring. Let it breathe for half a bar. And now we have this thing going on with all the half diminished chords. A lot of half diminished chords here. Okay, what is this? We have a D minor 7 written and a G7. The first one is clear, I think it's B half diminished is D minor 6. That's just the same thing. It's an inversion with the 16 bass. C half diminished is just a passing chord. Don't put anything, any fancy thoughts in there. It's just a passing chord. Leading me to D minor 7. Now we're G7 already. That's interchangeable. D minor and G7, the 2 and the 5 chord. That's just basically the same. It's like a G sus chord. Then C diminished written or E flat diminished written. That's the same. And I do another passing chord, E flat minor 7. I'm going to E minor 7. Now it's C is written. Again, this is the third instead of the first degree. Instead of C major, I have this E minor. Then I play a little melody again in a bass drum. That leads me to the written A minor 7. The 2, the 5, that's all simple. D7 with a C in bass, just simple. That's a simple chord, but I find it really intriguing because it sounds so sophisticated. It's nothing else but a D with the 7th in bass, right? It sounds a little like, I don't know. It's a weird chord. I love it. That's the 5 chord, another 5 chord, D9 sus 4. And now we have a D7 chord written, and I play all half diminished chords. F half diminished. That's a D altered chord. B is the melody, that would be the 13. F sharp minor 11, that's just a passing chord. And now we have some more half diminished chords. F sharp, G sharp, and A. F sharp, G sharp, and A. To harmonize the melody. The F sharp half diminished. Just do the calculation, just do the math, and you will find this is a D9. Well, here this is obvious actually. G sharp half diminished is a D13 flat, D13 sharp 11. Yeah. And the A half diminished is a D sus flat 9. That's an interesting chord actually. D sus flat 9. Right? Okay. Going to F minor 7, written in the sheet music. Some bass. Going to D minor, that's not written, that's just my reharmonization. That's like an anticipated G sus chord because that's what's next. In the next half we have a next bar we have a G7 chord, and that's just a G sus. So, but viewing it from the D, you can have a D minor 9. That's really beautiful, isn't it? And it leads me, this little run takes me down to D, which I play the open D string instead of this, right? Oh, sorry. G7 flat 9 with the flat 9 in bass. This one is actually, I take this from this movement, G13 flat 9, which you can actually move all 3 tones, 3 frets, and it still has that same characteristic. So this is a G7 flat 9 with the A flat in bass. And yeah, that was the 8 bars, that was the B section. Let's repeat it at slow tempo. So for the A3 section, of course, you have to play phrase number 1 again, which were the first 6 bars, and now we have the third ending. And lead sheet says a 2-5-1, D minor, G7 to C. And I play the major parallel, F major. Then I make an inner voice movement. These guys, take me to a D minor dyad and now a triad because of the melody. G7 flat 9 in shape of A flat diminished. And then you have different variations of the melody. One goes up, one goes down, depending on who sings or plays it. I went for the E on top now. G13, because that gives me a really beautiful voicing, and I like the melody better this way. G13 flat 9. Here would be a root, G flat 9, and here's the 13. And that resolves perfectly nice to the C6 9. Right? So that's the ending. If you like my arrangement of When You Wish Upon a Star, please give it a fat thumbs up. It's so important for me as a video content creator. And please subscribe to my channel for 120 plus chord melody tutorials. Check out my lesson shop, GuitarVersum.com. Or in that, have a great week. I see you next week. Ciao, ciao. Servus, Baba.